This is the new Govee Table Lamp 2 Pro with sound by JBL. Yes, you're in our bedroom. Welcome. Now the table lamp beside me just looks incredible. It's a 360-degree table lamp with 670 LEDs embedded inside. It can produce over 600 lumens, so it can be incredibly bright if I want, but it has this one lovely feature that has already become a mainstay in my home. In the middle of the night, it is dark in here, so being able to do this is very helpful. And the app even gives us some settings, so we can adjust like the brightness that it comes on, the time frame that we can use this feature, and even the sensitivity of that tap, like how hard I have to tap the device. But look down here, there's a second light. And the way Govee did this design, it reflects it into these amazing looking patterns. It's controllable separately from the main light too. You can hear sound coming out of the top now. That's out of a 10 watt, 65 millimeter JBL Bluetooth speaker. Sounds fantastic. Now, it's not the most booming speaker in the world, but I do love how clear and crisp it sounds. This is a massive improvement over what Govee has done in the past. So not only am I happily using this as a music player through my phone, but because it's Bluetooth, I'm using it as a speaker for my Apple TV. When I finally leave this nice bedroom, which doesn't happen all that often these days,
erotic, erotic, erotic,
I can take this speaker with me. And that's because Govee dropped a 5200 milliamp hour battery into the device. It's a great light and a great speaker for hanging out with your family. And we really like it because everyone can control it from their phone. Disconnecting and reconnecting Bluetooth just takes seconds, and everyone can kind of take their turn because Govee's been building all of their products with Bluetooth in mind. So it's set up right for control no matter where you are. But this isn't all, and hey, we can get out of our bedroom for a little bit. So let's head down to the studio. I'll show you what the new Govee Table Lamp Pro 2 is capable of and why I like it so much in our bedroom. Let's give her. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this speaker, but I am going to show you a few things where you might want a feature or two and it's not quite there. Let's talk about the speaker. I'm just going to clarify that I'm not an audiophile, and I'm not going to sit here and break down all the frequency response and how everything is a little off, okay? No, it's a JBL speaker, and what I've always felt about JBL speakers is again true here. They are well-rounded, but they do focus on it being clear and crisp versus kind of blowing you away. It's not that this is quiet, it's not, but it's a 10 watt speaker and you can go out and get bigger speakers. This partnership with JBL was really smart because what's happened here is Govee has significantly improved the sound on their speaker. I'm gonna connect to the speaker here, and it's this easy once you've done an initial pairing. So now I'm Bluetooth connected to the device and I can start anything from my phone then. You can probably still hear it in the background, and it's actually about at the minimum of the speaker level here. But I really like how this speaker keeps it very clear, very crisp, and it's not an overbearing speaker. I think that's part of what makes me love it in my bedroom so much. There's not a sub in here to kind of drive that heavy bass, but it's very, very clear. And that's my favorite part about this. For me, this speaker is now where it needs to be to become a primary one in my home. And you know what? It's the other features around this speaker that make it much better. I'm really happy with this as a speaker for my TV. Setting that up took all of 3 seconds on the Apple TV interface, and I've been able to do the same thing with my LG TV too. So you're going to be able to attach this to all kinds of things with that Bluetooth feature. You just need to be able to select this speaker when you put it in pairing mode. Now the latency when you're using it this way is non-existent. And so again, we have performance that actually works for people. Whether it's a game or whether it's a movie, I'm not noticing any delays. So what's on screen is exactly what's playing out of here. And Govee built this intended as a home theater speaker with very low latency. And I'll tell you, it's working.
That's what she shred.
I haven't been able to show you this because I don't have 2 of these, but there is a full stereo pairing option. Now what's really neat about that is that you'll still be able to connect to Bluetooth or through Bluetooth to the main unit and then have both of them play at the same time. Also, you're going to have some extra features when you use the stereo pairing. So you can see adjust the lighting effects and switch between stereo left and right or mono audio mode. So you'll be able to choose that, and then you will get some additional lighting effect options for those stereo pairs. So this is just an option. If you want to get 2 of these, you might find yourself really enjoying that scenario. I haven't been able to test it, so that's all I can tell you about that. Let me show you the different ways we can control this light. The first way to control the device is through the buttons on here, and anytime you press a button, it will light up. There's a full power button on and off right here, and then this is the cycle button to cycle through a number of effects that you can set in the app. It's just in the basic settings for this device. If you want to play sound, whatever was kind of playing last will start up as long as it's connected to that source, if it's a Bluetooth source, and then you have the volume buttons right here. Now this little indicator will show you the battery status. It'll go green once the battery is full. Now if you don't like any of these lights and you want the device to totally go to sleep, you actually just hold this for a few seconds. It'll do that little flash, and now it's fully off. And while you can still see it in the app, you won't actually be able to connect to it until you do the same function there. So those are just the basic controls on the actual lamp, but of course the app has much more. The app itself has a ton of control. Now we can see the JBL lamp, that's what I called it, and we can see the Bluetooth connection. It would show Wi-Fi with that kind of a symbol if it was connected to that, and I'll show you why that affects things in a bit. Now there's also a battery status right there, and we could turn it on or off from that main page. We can adjust the brightness, we could turn it on or off with that button, and we can turn off each component. Basically the top and the bottom can be turned on and off independently. We also have full control of the speaker, so we can drop it down to 1%, we can play and pause content, and we can go in and select from a bunch of different things that Govee has preloaded on the device. There are a number of different control methods on here, and each one has kind of its own interface. So this is just the color one. I can select a color, and of course we can change the brightness if we don't like that color. And if I'd like, I can manage it by segments. So if I want to turn on 2 segments, there we go. Those 2 are turned on. I can adjust the brightness per segment too. So if I want different brightnesses, I can do that. For scenes, we have kind of two different controls. So some of these have a speed control and some of them have a direction control. So you can see with this one, I can adjust both of those things. For each scene, you can set whether or not a sound is going to play when you turn on that scene. So with the fire scene, when I turn that on, you can hear it right now. And with the rainbow scene, there's no sound. Illumination is just a quick way to get to the different lights on here. You can set the color temperature, create more scenes for yourself. We're going to talk about music mode in a little bit, but the share space, you know what, right here is a scene that I created, or an effect that I created. You can see it's just a big heart. If you want, you can hit that little star and it will save to your device. And the DIY, that is where you can create all of your own effects. So if you like a certain bass effect, you can select that, come in here, adjust your colors, and pick really any color. And then you get some controls for the effect. You can hit apply and save. Now there is an advanced mode where you get a few more different effects and a few more controls depending on the effect that you're picking. And again, if you want, you can put some noise on there. Once you've saved those, they all go here and they become quick scenes that you can pick from. Now the finger sketch mode, this is where you can really decide exactly how things look. So I'll just turn it this way because this is kind of the way you're drawing it on the display. And you know, if I want a certain pattern, I can do that. I can hit apply, and now you can kind of see that edge right there. So you can create whatever scene you'd like on this. The bottom row, as you can see right here, is the base. Then you can choose an effect, a speed of that effect, and of course you can hit apply and save, and once you save it, it'll go into your DIY effect. The AI effects, you know what, this is just a chat bot that you can talk with. So you can just hold the talk. Give me something that reminds me of Spider-Man. I always use Spider-Man. Now if I like it, I can hit OK and it'll apply the effect. If I don't like it, I can edit or save it, or I can ask for revisions. So this is how you can create just about any effect with this. Now of course, there's a timer for, you know, like wake up and alarm type of things. You can set it to specific things throughout the day. And all of these other effects, they're just kind of additions to all the different colors and effects that you can use on there. But Music Dream View and the Dream View settings, that is something we'll go through here in a little bit. Those are some of the basics, but each of those features is much deeper than we showed. There's a lot of depth here, and you know what, it would take us a very long time to go through it all. I have some guides at the end of today's video that will show you how to do that, but there are some more advanced features that you're going to want to use. So let's talk about those and how the performance is. Earlier when we talked about Movie Dream View, that was just one of the modes that you get for combining Govee's products together. With this having its own speaker and with it having its own microphone right beside the speaker, this one is especially well suited for music synchronization. Now Govee has the response from this down to 32 milliseconds. So the effect is basically happening as the beat happens. This allows you to not only use Music Dream View to synchronize all of your devices, but you have a ton of music modes that you can put the device into. When we talk about music synchronization, there's kind of two modes of this. So number one, you can do a single device, this device, as a synchronizing component. Now, every one of the effects that you pick from, you can choose to adjust. And so you can see that effect changed quite a bit. Maybe I don't like yellow in there, I can get rid of that. It restarts the effect. I can add or erase certain things. Totally different looking effect. And once I'm happy with the effect, I can leave it there. Now I've got 3 categories, and the third category allows you to put more lighting effects in a row. So basically you can pick from all of them, you can put them all in a row, then they'll just rotate through based on the time that you've set there. Depending on what you're playing from, if you're playing from this speaker, you might want it from the device, and otherwise maybe you want it from your mobile phone. So you can do that, and you can see you do end up with some different effects when you're kind of picking up the noise from your phone. This next part allows you to synchronize devices with this one, whether this is the lead device or another is. It's going to depend where you're playing music from. Most of the time you're probably going to be playing it from here, so I think it makes sense to use that. Now, right here in the app is where we're going, and then we're hitting here, and we're going to create a dream view. Now you can create a movie one, a music one, or just a scene-based one. So I'm going to start with a music one, and we're going to start from this device in this case. It'll name it something, and you can see it already added that to Amazon. The first thing I think you want to do is go to the bottom and hit this plus on controlled device. Then you want to choose the other devices that are going to be based off of this or going to be synchronized with it. So let's say we wanted that one, let's say we wanted that one, and you know what, let's even say we wanted that backlight, and then you hit confirm. Those devices will all be connected through Bluetooth. So the only device that has to be connected to Wi-Fi for this to work is the main one. Now you can set them all as the same brightness, or you can choose different brightnesses per device. So if you want them to all be at different levels, you can choose that. Then you hit confirm and you choose the sensitivity. Now the sensitivity is what is driving this effect. That's the microphone sensitivity, and that's what it's listening for. So I like that waves one. Let's see how that looks with all the devices, but not a big yellow color guy. So I'm going to get rid of that, and we can see now that all these devices have been connected. So whenever we turn this mode on now in the app, this Music Dream View 10, it's going to synchronize all of those devices together. So we can turn that on or off. There's lots of different ways to do that, but you can see now that I've turned that off, we've reverted to a different effect. As far as I'm concerned, most other companies who say their lighting has a music synchronization feature are really just not doing it very well. So when I show you these features and I talk about them extra in these videos, it's because it's on another level over what those other companies are doing. And I really like that I can kind of tone down a lot of those music sync features because, you know, after a bit of time, I think the old guy in me kind of comes out and I don't want the heavy effects. So it's great to have effects like that fire effect that just feels so natural. Another advanced thing about this lamp are the visuals. Now, I've set it as a bedside table lamp, and that's just because I like the speaker component and that touch component as a nightlight. But if you set this light further away from you, all of these kinds of effects, they actually look a lot better. That's because it has this frosted exterior. So some of the pixels, some of those LEDs that are driving all of this, they get lost a little bit. So it's better to have less detail in your scenes or your effects that you create or that you're using. Speaking of all of these LEDs, 600 lumens from this little spot in your room, it can be very bright. So I really do appreciate the fact that I can turn on the top and the bottom, or just one of those at a time. And that helps me, especially with that touch-based feature at night, to get the night light level exactly how I want. So what I did is I used the finger sketch mode. You can see right there, I'm in that mode, and all I did was fill in the bottom 3 rows of the lamp with whatever color I wanted, okay? I put it on a very slow speed, and I chose twinkle as the effect. Now, I had to hit save, and that saved it into my DIY effects. But now, if I leave the lamp in this mode, and I need a nightlight in the middle of the night, well, there you go. So it's just gonna be that dim light for me. I love that. You might love it in a different way. It's up to you entirely though. The battery size is quite interesting. Now, it's not an incredibly heavy lamp to carry around with you, so I can actually see people taking this one to the beach. You don't want to get sand in it, and I do think you could scratch the sides of it, but it is well made, and when I've banged it into things, I haven't made any marks. Govee tells us that their battery supports 4.5 hours of sound and light at 50% volume and 50% brightness. And in my testing, the battery is lasting much longer, especially when I turn down the volume or the brightness a little bit. So you can actually get a lot of time out of this device when it's unplugged from the wall. But once you unplug it, there is a little impact to how it works. The good news is it's all based on a setting that you can control. I'm connected only to Bluetooth right now, and there's a reason for that. Number 1, I have no power cable. And number 2, I have set this setting called the battery saver setting. And what you'll notice when you read this is that it's basically going to turn off remote Wi-Fi control third-party voice assistants. So I couldn't go and use one of those voice assistants right now because I have that battery saver turned on. So it does affect how this works with other platforms. It doesn't matter whether you've connected Govee to Google or Amazon or through Matter to Apple HomeKit or another platform. It stops working in those other apps during that time. And now I think that's a fine trade-off, and the good news is you get to pick. You can change that setting on the fly, so you're able to choose whether or not that type of control is really important. A lot of you will be wondering whether or not you can control this speaker in all of those other apps. Unfortunately, it is just acting like a light right now. So you would have to use the Govee app for that specific piece. Simply put, this is a fantastic speaker with a world-class light. It's beautiful, and I'm so excited to have it in my bedroom to act as both that home theater speaker and as a perfect night light. It can be very bright and exciting, or it can fade into the background, and you get to pick. So this one, it's gonna sit in our bedroom for a very long time, and it's gonna be put to good use. The pricing on this for both a speaker and a light at this level is not crazy, and while it's not an inexpensive device, if you have that gap in your home, this is a definite win. So check the links down below to pick one of these up or to learn a little bit more from Govee. Now, as you saw earlier in our video, one of the best features is to pair this light with other lights from Govee, and this one is especially effective if you pair it with those TV backlights. But you can also pair it with your PC and the HDMI sync boxes. You can pair it with other floor lamps, and of course, the very best in LED strips out there. So that playlist is right there where you can check out all the best smart lighting we've reviewed here. That'll help you pick a couple of products to go with this and to make your setup really amazing. So check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.